Welcome back, guys. I'm Bluudys. This is Bluudys Garage. Today we'll be continuing with the rebuild, because it's now the rebuild of the Alpha after it had its snapped timing belt. First off, I want to say that this video is sponsored by Forge and Foster. They are the company that provided with my watch that you may have seen in one of the previous videos. So I've got to give a shout out to them. I'm going to quickly just show you the watch because that's what you do when it's a shout out, and then we'll crack on with the video. Can't even get it off my wrist. So here we have my lovely, awesome watch, as you can see. Absolutely stunning. You can see all the way through it. It's glass both sides, and you can see the mechanism, which is what you want to look at, because it is, to me, it looks freaking awesome. I love it. I love this style of watch, and it self-winds. If anyone's interested, the link will be in the description for Forge and Foster. Anyway, back on with this video. I'll put the camera back down. Finally, a week after I ordered them, my new rockers have arrived. Now, they were supposed to be what is that? They were supposed to be delivered on the 13th, or by the 13th, and they came on the 19th. So yes, that's how long I've been waiting. Look at these little bad boys. Are they even the same? Oh no. Okay, I understand now. I have to take these little bits off of them. I was like, this isn't right. They don't look right. Everything else then looks right, so I now need to build the rockers with the bits of the old ones. Didn't know that. So I've already built 4 up, as you can see. So what you have to do is you grab your old rockers, or what's left of them, and grab your new ones. Now these new ones come with these little clips on, but the clips on my old ones haven't been fine. So this little bit here is just clipped onto the bottom of the rocker, and once you've peeled it off, you don't need any tools. You can do it with your fingers, or I suppose you could use a flat blade, which I started with, but found that I didn't really need to use a flat blade. Clips on, and that's it. That rocker arm is now rebuilt. So I've done 5. I've only got another 11 to go. Push it off. And then clip it on. Not going to let you watch me for all 16, but I think you get the idea now. So nice and neat, not so neat. I'll put these ones all together. So now it's time to drop these back on top of the engine. I'm going to remove my battery charger out of the way because the battery died whilst its hazards was on while I was at the side of the road, so I've been charging it up. So the battery should be fine. Don't look at that gauge and say that it's not, because it's been on charge for like 2 days. The gauge don't work. But the battery's fine because I've tested it and the ignition and that comes on. So right, so I'm going to set the camera up best I can, and we'll start dropping these bits and bobs back in. So here we have our lovely new water pump with some instructions. Yeah, water goes in, comes round, goes and does things. Yeah. See, that's saying to drain the water first. Might need to drain the water. We have a gasket and a silica packet. Bad stuff, silica. Right, let's have a look if we can get this fitted. So whether I'm doing it right or wrong, I don't really know, but I'm undoing the water pump, and I have a bowl underneath catching any coolant that drops out. I can't be bothered to drain the whole system, so I think because the water pump's at the top of the engine, it's only going to drop the fluid relative to the level that it is, if that makes sense. And then it means the rest of the system should still stay full of fluid. Oh, that's my logic. Who knows if that's right or wrong, don't really know. But that's what I'm doing, so 3 bolts and it will come out.
So here we have the old water pump, as you can see, and the nice new one. Other than the looks of it from the outside, and there's no difference. The bearing is fine on this one, obviously it's fine on the new one. So I've just put the gasket on, just going to lock it in. So it has these little locking tangs on the gasket. I'm going to bang it in to stop it dribbling out even more coolant. And then I'm going to put the coolant back in. So here is our aperture where the water pump came out of. I'm going to get a bit of rag. Just give it a quick wipe over. Any muck or anything, there shouldn't be. So I don't want to impact this straight in, so especially that bottom one there that was a bit tight. So I'm just going to see if it'll do up by hand. That's nice and tight. Don't want to go like too heavy-handed with the tool straight in because I don't want to strip any threads. So I do it till it it's supposed to be till it nips it up. And it just takes it out in the hand. And those that are wondering, yes, the engine is supported by another jack underneath. Cool, so we have a new water pump in. Other parts of the kits included this pulley here, which I'm hoping you can see, and this pulley here. So I'm going to grab them out of the box and hopefully get them fitted as well. So I've actually put on the new pulleys. This one, which is loose at the moment, because that's the one I have to use for the adjustment to take out the slack of the belt. But it's in the threads. It just can slide at the moment, and then this one's bolted on nice and tight. So we've got the new pump on, idle pulley, tensioner, they're all on. Still waiting for the rockers. It's still the same day, but you may remember that I bought some glow plugs, and there is a light on the dashboard for glow plugs. So I'm gonna pull them out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pull them out, and we're getting replaced whilst I'm here, because I may as well, because I've got them. And I'm nearly at the point, well, it's got to be a little bit easier access, or maybe not with one hand. I'm dropping my tools now. So yeah, when I get that done. So I've pulled out one of the glow plugs. It does exactly as its name is. It's a glow plug. So where a spark plug on a petrol sparks, funnily enough, to ignite the fuel, this glows. And how diesels work is the really high compression engines, so the heat that's built up with that compression is what actually ignites the fuel. But when it's cold, like when it's just started up, stuff like that, obviously there's not enough heat in the engine at all. So the glow plugs are designed to, you know, warm up the air as the air and bang, and yeah, something like that. And you know, something on that tone, yeah, something like that. So new and old, just as you know, as you do, you always do a companion of new and old. Comparison. Shiny and not so shiny. Now it's going to get them fitted. So it's a 9mm socket I'm using. As you can see, I've already pulled them out. Put them out, put them in, put the wires on, job done. Ta-da! So we have all the new rockers on, which I'll show you shortly, but it looks like a car with rockers on. I'm going to replace the rocker cover gasket, mainly because there was oil leaking down the side of the injectors, if you remember from the first video. Some of you were asking in the last video what the buzzing is and the flickering. It's that light. I am going to get all my lights replaced in the garage when I can, when I've got the money for LED ones that won't flicker and won't buzz, but for now I'm stuck with that. So all the new rockers are in, as you can see, they're all in. I have used a magnet tool to pull out all the little needle bearings from the one that's broke, and I can't find anything that's loose now in the top. Just put the new gasket on, so that's ready to be clamped down. Now it's a case of getting the cam covers back on and timing up, but I'm not going to put the injectors in yet because I still want to use my endoscope, and my endoscope's not arrived yet. So I'm going to get this belt up. We can still put the belt on, I've just not been putting the injectors in yet, so I won't be firing it just yet until I've used my endoscope. So now I need to figure out how I time it up, so we can time it up and put the cover back on. So the next thing we're going to be doing is locking the crank with our tool, and then we'll move on to locking this, so we can lock this when we put it on. What we're going to need to lock the crank is this lovely tool, this strange bolt contraption, a 10mm, and then one of the bolts that was used to hold the pulley onto the crank. So let's go down to the car. I'll show you roughly how it's going to mock up, and then I want to do it off camera because it's a bit tight down here. But I'll show you in principle what's going to happen. So we're already lit up. I've got to lie down. Right, so what we're going to do is undo this bolt, this 10mm bolt here. We will replace that with, we'll take the nuts off the back of this, and then we'll pop that into that hole. I hope you can see. That will allow us to put this on and lock it in into the hole, into that bolt that we're going to put in, and then we can line this up to bottom dead center, which it might be now, because I think that marking is that marking, but we'll line it up and get it locked into place. In fact, it's not, because this needs to be bottom dead center, this pin here, and then we'll know that we're right. So I'm going to get that done, and then I'll come back to you once it's all on. So there we are, the locking tool is in place. That is securely holding it there. I have put this lock in, like the bolt, into this hole, and it puts the pin at the bottom, and that's when it's at that's when it's timed, that's when it's locked. So I know it's going to be, I'm going to have to undo this and spin it round to put the belt on, but then I want to put it back on. But I want to make sure this is timed up right, oh excuse me, so I can put the rocker covers back on, because I don't want to damage any of the rockers. So I need to make sure that's timed up right, so I can drop this in place. But I also need to time this up too, and I need to turn it upside down, and when I do that, a lot of oil is going to pour out, because there's oil all inside there. When I spin it around, you can see it, look. Yeah. So I need to try and time this one up now. So I'm not actually sure if this is going to be the right thing or the wrong thing to do, but because it's still got oil in there, every time I tip it to try and cock it, it just pours out. So I know I've timed the bottom up, so theoretically I should be able to put this on top. Just not bolt it down, just put it on top so the oil can drain back into the engine, then lock it and then clamp it down. That is what I'm hoping I can do. No idea if I can do that or not. I don't see a reason why I can't do that, because that's not going to cause any issues with anything, because I'm not clamping it down, I'm just placing it on top. Okay, so now moving on to locking the cam covers. You have this here, this bung, which I'll be honest was freaking tight as anything. In the locking tool you have this, which is spring loaded, which you push in, and then you attempt to do it up, but maybe holding a torch and using one hand is not a good idea. And there we go. What happens now, because it's spring loaded, is when you cycle around the cams, that'll spring out and you'll hear a click when it locks into place. But because I don't want to rotate it while I'm on top of the actual pistons, because they're set at the moment and I don't want to damage any rockers, I'm now going to lift this back off and time it up, and then when we put it back on it will be timed. What a pain in the ass. So I'm hoping now that when I spin this around you should hear it go. I'm hoping. Oh yeah, you can't get that wrong, can you? Locked. See, it was so worth doing. So now I have a lot of oil everywhere that I now need to wipe up. But now we have a timed up cam assembly we have a timed up bottom end. Theoretically, and it is only theoretically, we should be able to put this back together. But who knows, because it's me doing it. So I have chucked the cam box, rocker box, whatever you want to freaking call it, back on top of the engine. All the bolts are in the holes. It's now just a case that I need to tighten them up. And according to the gurus online, it's 10 Newton meters, and I don't think that's a lot. I'm not going to go more than that, but 10 Newton meters isn't a lot, so I'm just going to use it, just do a ratchet and then just nip them all the way around. So I'm going to quickly get all that tightened down, and then we should be one step closer to getting this belt back on. So there we have it all tightened down. I did it a bit like a cylinder head, so I started in the middle and worked my way out, balancing the bolts, so it should have tightened down together, if that makes sense. But yeah, quite happy with that. So here we have the new belt, and you will see that it has some lining marks on it, so we'll use those hopefully to time up. Everything's locked, but you know, you use it to just help your timing. So there's actually a mark on here where the belt's going to sit. Oh, everything's in the freaking way again now. Move all that over there, move you over there. This air conditioning pipe's doing my titting. Just move out the way. Just move up back, yeah, move up there. Right, so now we can get a belt on, but we've got that locking tool on the bottom, so I need to take the locking tool off without moving anything to slide the belt over it, so we can then put it over here. What I forgot to say about the belt as well is obviously make sure you put it on the right way, because obviously it has arrows of which way to go. It has 3 white lines on it, one there, another one there, and then another one there. So they line up with the crank and with the camshaft, and there's a line for the fuel pump on the back, but as far as I'm aware that doesn't need to be timed up, but if I can time it up I will do. Right, just so I keep everyone in the loop as I'm going on, because obviously I'm doing a lot of this stuff where it's hard to film, especially with it being quite dark. I have the belt timed up. I'll show you later, but the white mark of the belt is lined up with the marker on the pulley, because obviously it's locked, and the marker on the cam casing. So I'm trying to line up the one down on the crank at the moment, but I'm one tooth out because I need to try and like pull the belt tight to get it on. Once I've done that, I can then work my way up and get everything else on. But it's a little bit of a pain in the ass. So once I've got it on and lined up, I shall come back to you. But freaking hell, it's a pain in the ass. One tooth out. And the timing's right, before anyone says. Timing's right at the top, timing's right at the bottom. It's just a little bit of slack in the belt that I need to pull down. But it's getting stuck on everything. So, the torch isn't working. There we go. So you have to bear with me because of the poor filming, because everything's so dark. So what I've done is the belt's not finished yet, it's just in place. So you'll see that white timing mark there in the middle of the screen on that belt actually lines up. You can almost see the timing mark on the front of the cover where that line is. It lines up with that perfectly fine. Hang on. Oh, I missed my wheels, I'm on the floor. I've had to take my timing tool off for now, but there is a mark on the left which lines up. Holy crap, hang on, I want to try and get my wheels. Oh, I fell. Right, anyway, so there is a mark. I'm trying to freaking lay it up on the belt, as you can see, and it lines up with the mark that's on the crank. And I've got the tools just wedging the belt in place while I put everything else on. Holy crap, this is all quick to run around. Sorry for the noises and everything, but I'm trying to show you. So, high pressure fuel pump has the belt on, water pump has the belt on. This is the idler pulley just here. I've screwed that bolt in, as you can see, probably in the middle of the screen now. That allows me to lever, and then I can tighten that idler pulley up. Now what happens on the back of the pulley, where's the old one? There. You can see there's that little arrow Well, that arrow moves and lines up with a hole. It's awkward as hell to see. Yeah, I can't even show you at the moment. So I need to lever it back and then I need to tighten it up. And hopefully you'll be able to see the point and the hole. And holy crap, I'm out of breath. I'm seriously unfit. Yeah, so that's what I'm currently doing next. Fun. So I need to try and lever that pulley and tighten it up at the same time. So I need to get a decent screwdriver and the right tool and then try and do it. Okay, so I have got the belt on. It is nice and tight. I'll take that out now. Got the tensioner on. The tensioner is correct. I'll show you when I get a torch. The torch is on the floor. Right, so what I need to do is get my torch so you guys can see. That should still be lined up. I hope it is because I can't see. But I will check. No, I can't see at the moment. If I hope it is, otherwise you guys will be screaming at the screen saying it's not. So underneath the I can't show you. Underneath the pulley in the middle of the screen now, there's a little arrow that's pointing to a hole. Well, that's perfect tension now for this belt. And I had to do that by putting a bolt into that hole just there and prying off from the bottom of the car with the screwdriver to put it in place. And I had to use my fiance's help. So thank you, Grace, to help me do that. Now I'm going to check all the marks that are still in the right place. And if they are, remove the locking pin at the top, because obviously the bottom one's out at the moment, and crank it over by hand, and fingers crossed it will do a full, you know, it will go round and round. There's no injectors in, so there's no compression there, so it should go round and round nice and easy but not hit any valves. Oh, that is what I'm hoping. So the locking pin is out and I put the bung back in. I should now be able to crank this over, not on the starter obviously, you know, by hand. So I'm going down here, you guys can look from the top. I'm going to get my socket and ratchet on. I'm going to knock the camera stand. So, right. I hope you guys can still see. That's one rotation of the crank. I do apologise for hitting the camera stand, but I'm struggling. And that is two. So that is two rotations. I need to line it back up at the bottom now and check the marks on the crank and on the cam. Oh, so I'm going to do that now. So we've had a bit of another time jump. We're a few days later than when I first put the belt on. So if you remember, I put the belt on, checked it all up, span the engine over by hand, and it's fine. There's no, doesn't hit anything, and the markings still stay where they need to do. So I'm going to start rebuilding the engine now because my endoscope's not here yet. So I'm going to just start building stuff up, and if it finally arrives, then I'll do it while I've got the injectors out, because they'll be the last things I put in. If not, I'll get my endoscope and I'll get the endoscope. Sorry, another day, like after, you know, I'll get the injectors back out, put the endoscope in, we'll have a look. But for now, I'm just going to start rebuilding it. So the one thing I want to do right now is I want to get the engine mount back on so I can remove the jack that's holding the engine. So I'm going to get it all jacked up a bit higher so I can actually get the bolts in. There's not a lot you're going to be able to see on this one, I'm afraid, guys, so you're just going to have to take my word for it. But I'm going to get the mount, which is just there, back in place. That'll secure the engine, and then we'll be in a much better position then. So here we have the engine mount back on, which is good because it means it's now holding the engine. I've dropped the jack down, and obviously the jack is no longer supporting the engine. So I've also put the bottom pulley on as well. You might be able to see just down there. So now I want to get the auxiliary belt on. Now I may have messed up here. I don't know whether I should have put the auxiliary belt on before or after. Either way, I'll be able to do it. It's just going to be a bit fiddly. You have to bend it around all the pulleys and then bend the it's very early in the morning for me. Bend the tensioner. There we go. You know. So I'm trying to do that, but it's going to be awkward to show you. A couple of people was asking how you like adjust the tensioners. Where's my touch gun? That's light. You can't adjust them; they're automatic, but move them. So you can see the tensioner now in the middle of the screen, and you can see there's a nut on it, which is obviously what holds it into this spring-loaded tensioner mount. You get your spanners on that, and you push it, and it moves like a big arm, and that's how you would then loosen it, pull your auxiliary belt off, and then you loosen it to push your new one on, and then you release it slowly, and it will grab the tension, and ta-da, it's done. So that's what we're about to do, or I'm about to do. So I shall come back to you when I have a belt on. This is a long video. Now I've got the belt kind of on. I just need to adjust the tensioner by moving the tensioner now to give me the slack to put it onto the alternator. But I'm struggling to do it by myself, and my missus is at work, so I'm going to have to wait for her to get here so I can do that. So I've been building up the top of the engine, so I've just screwed the injector rail on, bolted the injector rail on, bolted that strap back on, bolted the pipe into the injector rail. I've replaced the T-junction for the bit that snapped because it was brittle. Just got a few other bits and bobs and pipes and that to connect on there. I've got the injectors ready, but I'm gonna wait another day and hope that my endoscope arrives. I pulled off the old washers, so I need to put the new washers on. Washers, copper seals, whatever you want to call them, which are there. Got 4 of them bad boys. So I'm gonna call it quits for this part of the video and wait another day and hope my endoscope arrives. But I'm happy we've progressed. Or do I just wrap the video up because it's a long video? Let me get a few more things put together and I'll think about it while I'm putting them together. So we are at the car, and I have my little light turned on the end of my camera, as you can see. I try to straighten the wire as much as I can so we can go straight down into the cylinder. Got some extra wire. We have our screen here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the screen to record when I go down into the holes, so then I can hopefully get the footage and put the footage into the videos. So we're on max brightness with the camera. Let's hang on. Let's set this to record. So it's now recording. Put the screen there. This is like the slimmest camera that I could find. Wow. I can't see any damage. I'm hoping you guys can see on that camera. We're at the piston. Can't see any damage. So that's 1. Let's go into 2. You can see it's a bit oily going down here. This is 2. Can't see any damage down there. I'm curious of what this like half moon of darkness is, because I'm lighting it up. Must just be the shape of the pistons. Can I even move the camera across anymore? No, I can't. Let's go to the next one. What is that on that piston? That's obviously got something on it. We're getting closer. I don't want to bend the camera a bit, see if I can keep round to it. Right, so it's now in the hole. It could just be oil or something that's dropped down there. Not sure what that is, guys. I'm going to the last one. Yeah, now I've just clicked on now. So what this black is, I think it's oil sat on top of the piston. So obviously I've had the rocker covers off and oil has ran down like the injector holes and stuff like that. I'm 99% sure that's oil because that hasn't got any in 3. Nice and clean. But then in 1, 2 and 4, come on, it's just trying to get through the injector hole. Ah, I think I've dirtied my camera up. I have. Paper. So then, yeah, getting back into. I've still not cleaned my camera properly, apparently. So I'll brighten this down so I can see. You can see me now, so I'll brighten this back up. So yeah, that shiny bit is oil. Back into 1. Yeah, oil. Look, it's reflecting back the light of the camera. So I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to finish off by dropping the injectors back in. And we'll be able to hopefully get this bad boy started shortly. I just want to add one before I put the injectors in. I'm putting the new seals on. And they're nice and snug, which is good. I'm using a long socket to help push them down the injector so they sit nice and tight. That way, well, these are tight anyway, so they ain't going to fall off, but obviously you might be, hopefully you shouldn't have any loose ones because you should have the right injector seals, but these now won't drop off when I put them down and then bolt them in place. So I'm just going to get these put together now. So everything except for the auxiliary belt and this airbox, because I took it off while I was trying to do the auxiliary belt, is on and tight and done up. So I'm just topping the coolant back up. I'm going to leave the cap off because obviously we have to bleed it. And fingers crossed, I love the colour of coolant. Fingers crossed. So like I said, we should be at the point of starting. Yes, the wheel's off because there's other work I need to do down there. Cap's off. All the pipes, as far as I'm aware, are tight. Everything's tight. Injectors are clamped down. Let me just get the camera and show you. So obviously, the clamps, which look like new shiny bits. Where's my torch gone? Oh, that'll do. They're the old clamps that I cleaned up. There we go. Obviously they've got the correct washers on because I found the one I was missing. The pipe's got a new T-piece in it. The pipes are tight. The injectors are tight down. Auxiliary belt isn't on. It looks like it's on, but it's not. I made sure I pulled it away from the bottom crank. Because I want to fire the engine over. Yes, it's not going to charge and no power steering and all that. I just want to hear it fire so I know we've got a good engine. We've cycled the engine over. We've made sure that there's no clearance issues. Now it's just time to start it. Although I need to put the ignition on. Let the pump in the tank send the fuel through to get this one. Might do that a couple of times so the fuel gets back up to the engine before I actually try and start. And this is a make or break moment, I suppose. And I hope my battery's still charged. That's promising. As I did charge it. Oh, I am so scared right now. Right. So fingers crossed now I can get it to run. Now unfortunately it wasn't running earlier when I tried. There was a bit of air escaping past the injectors, so I've had the injectors out, cleaned the seats up. There was nothing really wrong with them, it cleaned them up and torqued them down again, and now there should be no air passing the injectors. I'm going to prime it. I've got a piece of rag underneath there because there was a very small fuel leak on the injectors. I'm going to put the ignition on a few times, hopefully pull the fuel through back to the rail, because that's how you get the fuel through. And then fingers crossed after a little bit it's going to fire up, but who knows. So I'm going to do that. I don't know how many times I need to do that either, so I'm just going to keep doing that for a bit. Okay, so I should hopefully be able to prime it now by putting the ignition on and off. Ignition on. I should be sending fuel forwards. Ignition off. Ignition on. Send the fuel. Okay, ignition off. I can hear the pump priming. Send fuel. Off again. I don't know how many times I should do this. Right, go for start. Yeah! I mended something! Yeah! I was so excited I took the sign to tell my fiance. Yeah! This sounds so good! My donkey lives! You're a good donkey! I need to Snapchat people! My camera's dirty! I'm so excited! So excited! Listen to it! It's perfect! My donkey lives! Listen to it purr! I mended something! So happy! So happy! Yes! And with that, back to the studio. I've always wanted to say that, but I don't have a studio. It's live. I'm actually going to tag this on the end of my video now. I'm not going to make a third video. This is just two-parter. Yeah, I've got trims and stuff to put on, but you guys, it's just a case of putting some plastic covers on. And I've got a bit of work to do down in this arch anyway, so while it's in the air, I'm going to do that. I've just Snapchatted like loads of people, so now my phone's going mental. Add me on Snapchat, you know, I can send you videos and stuff. I still ain't got my auxiliary belt on, you know, otherwise battery's still connected to the charger, but either way, I'm happy. It now runs. It was a pig last night because it wouldn't run, and there was a fuel leak, and yeah, I finally bled it all through, and yes! We have life! We have life! Right, now this video, make sure you stay humble, guys. I love you all. See you soon. Bye-bye.